The world of mountain bike technology is ever changing, with new standards, flashy tech and groundbreaking innovations popping up all the time. We'll admit, not every piece of new tech is worth writing home about, but today we're looking at the innovations that truly revolutionised mountain biking forever. We're talking real game changers here, so let's dive right in. More traction equals more action. So one of the biggest innovations fitted to mountain bikes has got to be the invention of suspension. But just how have we gone from this to this? That's sick! In 1985, American Horst Littner changed mountain bike history. Drawing on his background in motorcycle engineering, Littner designed a rear suspension linkage system that reduced the effects of braking on the suspension sensitivity. The first Horst link frame was born. Littner's Horst link design, also known as a 4-bar link, became one of the most widely used linkage designs on the market, and is still used today by the likes of Specialized, Norco and Transition, and even more after Specialized FSR patent expired in 2013. With rapid advancements in the world of rear suspension designs, the front forks had some catching up to do. In 1991, RockShox released its first ever suspension fork. Developed during 1989 and raced by Ned Overend to world champs victory in Durango in 1990, the RS1 proved itself instantly. Offering just 50mm of travel, the RS1 was very flexy compared to today's super taut long travel forks and lacked any adjustability in the damping. But bear in mind, this was an air-sprung fork which offered hydraulic damping and weighed only about 1,500 grams. It also cost just $350, which was leagues ahead of the competition. It changed the game, and its telescopic design is still mirrored by the best suspension forks on the market today. However, even though suspension advances year after year, some riders still believe they're better off with less of it. Hardcore hardtails are a popular choice on trails all over the world, proving that more suspension doesn't always equal more fun. I could talk for hours about suspension, but senior video manager Felix has banned me. But if you want to hear about how to set up your suspension sag, click the link here. After 1980, mountain bike innovation had truly taken off, and full suspension frames and telescopic forks opened the door to a whole new world of trail riding. However, one problem remained. You had to stop every time you wanted to lower your seat. Until in 1983, a couple of American riders came up with a solution, which they called the height right. The height right relied on a simple spring mechanism, which was attached to the seat tube and the seat post with 2 collars. It offered up to 114mm of drop. An excellent example of an early dropper post is the gravity dropper. Agricultural though it was very effective and not too expensive. KS moved dropper design forward with an air-sprung dropper, but it wasn't until 2010 and the introduction of the RockShox Reverb that infinitely adjustable travel and handlebar-mounted remotes became the norm. Dropper posts certainly changed the game for cross-country, trail and enduro riders. Of course, there's a weight penalty to factor in, as well as added complexity and cost. However, we'd still class them as one of the most game-changing upgrades out there. As riding speeds kept increasing, brake technology had a hard time keeping up. By the 1990s, mechanical disc brakes were taking over from rim brakes, prized for their increased power and improved performance, especially in the wet. But it wasn't until the mid-1990s that UK's Hope technology went global with the launch of their Hope C2 disc brake. Rob Warner won his only World Cup using these brakes in Kaprun in 1986. The C2s had a thumb wheel adjuster, allowing for on-the-fly tunability and compensating for the expansion of hydraulic fluid in the closed system. The industry never looked back, and hydraulic disc brakes continue to offer the pinnacle of performance across the sport of cycling, on and off-road. Thankfully now using open systems like cars and motorbikes though. What does the future hold? Perhaps wireless electronic disc brakes are the answer. Let us know what you think in the comments. Until the early 2000s, the mountain biking world rolled on one wheel size only. It was 26 inches or nothing. This all changed when Wilderness Trail Bikes released the first purpose-made 29-inch mountain bike tyre back in 1999. Mountain bike pioneers Gary Fisher and Charlie Kelly were experimenting with 29ers, and Fisher went on to produce one of the first mass-produced 29-inch wheel bikes. The benefits of 29-inch wheels were hard to deny, offering vastly improved grip and rollover. However, at the time, frame geometry and suspension fork design limited the use of big wheels, and they were reserved for cross-country riding. In 2013, a compromise was found in the form of the 27.5-inch wheel size, also known as 650B, offering increased grip, rollover and stability over 26-inch wheels without the handling downsides found on early 29ers. However, 29er development continued in the shadows, and by 2016, the intermediate wheel size looked to have a fight on its hands. The beginning of the end for 650B in downhill came just a year later when the Santa Cruz Syndicate announced they would be starting the 2017 Downhill World Cup season aboard a 29er V10 prototype. But there was yet another standard emerging. So-called mullet bikes use a large 29-inch front wheel paired with a smaller 27.5-inch rear wheel, and quickly gained popularity on the downhill and enduro race circuit. The mixed wheel size setup was especially popular amongst smaller riders, combining the stability, grip and rollover of a large front wheel compared with the responsive handling and increased bum to rear wheel clearance of the smaller 27.5-inch wheel. We haven't seen any convincing evidence that there's a new wheel size about to take over, but internet forums have sparked debates on 36ers being the next step in the evolution of the mountain bike wheel. While these wagon wheels do look totally wild, many said the same about 29ers at the start of the millennium. If you're curious about bigger wheels but think that 36 inches might be too big, you could consider the latest in-betweener size, a 32er. Or, if you think, 36s are too small, then fear not, you could lobby Ridiculous Bikes to build you a 39er. Right, that's enough internet for one day. I do love the mountain bike industry. Despite offering improvements in grip, speed and control, bigger wheels still didn't eliminate the most deflating of mechanicals. There's nothing more soul destroying than hearing the dreaded as your tyre rapidly loses pressure. Luckily for us, with the advent of tubeless technology, ride-ending punctures have just about become a thing of the past. The tubeless concept was born in 1999 with the universal standard for tubeless tyres dubbed UST. However, despite proving successful in reducing punctures on the trail, the uptake of UST technology was slow. The system was heavy and very expensive, and it also wasn't truly universal, requiring specific tyres and rims for a successful tubeless seal. In the year 2000, a man by the name of Stan Koziatek, sorry about the pronunciation, shocked the industry with his homemade solution to the tubeless problem. Using a standard tyre and rim combination, Stan taped the rim bed and added a home-brewed sealant solution before mounting the tyre. His system was effective, cheap and truly universal. The reliability of tubeless systems was boosted further with the invention of tyre inserts. Using closed-cell foam, they help by adding stability to the sidewall of the tyre and acting as a cushion between the rubber and the bead to prevent pinch flaps. While it's clear that no one is going back to tubes, except maybe slopestyle riders, punctures are still stopping riders and racers all over the world. Admittedly, this is far less of a problem than it used to be, but it begs the question, can we do more to truly make flats a thing of the past? While suspension, brakes and droppers were all evolving, the basic principle of cable-operated mountain bike gears have remained relatively unchanged over the years. After all, aside from an extra cog here or there, was there room for an improvement on the 1x drivetrain? Shimano's answer to that question came in 2014 with a mountain bike specific iteration of their electronic Di2 road gear shifting system. It still used wires, but it was the first true electronic shifting solution. In 2019, SRAM upped the ante with the introduction of its game-changing 12-speed Eagle Axis drivetrain, offering entirely wireless shifting. The rest of the industry was still catching up. In the world of suspension, computers have offered tantalizing hints of how they could be used to adjust the suspension automatically to suit the terrain. Fox were the first to take the plunge with their live valve system, on sale from 2018. It's not wireless, but still, going first is never easy. RockShox were playing catch-up, but leapfrogged Fox by expanding the Axis ecosystem to bring wireless suspension control to mountain biking with the RockShox Flight Attendant. It automatically adjusts rider suspension damping to the terrain they're riding using sensors in the forks, shock and cranks. It's an exciting time to be a mountain biker, as more companies are jumping on the wireless bandwagon, offering droppers and gearing. And it feels like we're nowhere near the limit of the electronics yet. So far, we've seen measurable improvements in performance and usability in gears, droppers and suspension, thanks to electronic innovation, and we're excited to see what the future holds. It would be impossible to list game-changing MTB innovations without mentioning electric mountain bikes. They might not always be popular in the comments sections, but they're quickly becoming the fastest growing sector in the industry. And it's easy to see why. EMTBs give their non-electric counterparts a run for their money on even the most gnarly descents. On the climbs, of course, they outperform even the lightest cross-country bike and provide bucket loads of smiles whatever the gradient. One thing is certain, e-bikes are only going to get better. As batteries and motors reduce in size and weight, we're going to see e-bikes that are lighter, more powerful and less obtrusive. The future is electric. Mountain biking has come a long way. In just 20 years, we've had new wheel sizes, ditched tubes for good, invented dropper posts and disc brakes, and revolutionised suspension. More recently, it's all been electric, with e-bikes and wireless components leading the charge and showing no signs of slowing down. While we probably won't be reinventing the wheel anytime soon, it's this constant progression and refinement that we think will shape mountain biking in years to come. It's safe to say the days of game-changing innovations aren't over yet. If you enjoyed this video, please drop us a like and make sure to subscribe. We've got plenty of videos coming every Wednesday, so keep an eye out. If you want to continue your deep dive into the progress of mountain biking, we've got just the video for you right here.